Godzilla is the king of the monsters, but he does not actually have that regal title as part of his name. However, one of Godzilla's most iconic, dangerous, and fearsome foes is explicitly kaiju royalty. The golden, three-headed dragon King Ghidorah will battle with Godzilla one more time in the upcoming legendary film, so here's the history of the ultimate evil kaiju. Like Rodan and Mothra, two other classic Godzilla monsters that are crossing the Pacific for Godzilla, King of the Monsters, King Ghidorah is a fixture of the Japanese films produced by Toho. Rodan and Mothra made their first appearances in 1956 and 1961, respectively, in self-titled movies that were initially separate from the Godzilla franchise. Mothra battled with Godzilla in 1964's Mothra vs. Godzilla, the fourth film in the Godzilla series. The fifth film, released that same year, would takes more than one kaiju to defeat it. The three-headed monster marked the first time that Godzilla was ever the good guy, the beginning of a transformation that would eventually lead Godzilla down some heroic and very goofy paths throughout the 60s and 70s. That's how bad Ghidorah was. He turned a walking metaphor for the horrors of the atomic bomb and nuclear power into the protector of Earth. Ghidorah would return 4 more times in the 60s and 70s, in what's known as the Showa era of the Godzilla franchise. In 1965's invasion of Astro Monster, Ghidorah reappears, now under the control of an alien race known as the Zillions who inhabit Planet X. The Zillions initially pretended that they needed to borrow Godzilla and Rodan from Earth to protect them from Ghidorah, also known as Monster Zero, but this was a ruse. Instead, they took control of the two Earth kaiju as well, and they came pretty close to conquering the world. This was the first time that Ghidorah was explicitly under the control of some alien force, but it wouldn't be the last. In 1968, King Ghidorah appeared once more under the control of another alien race, the Killoks. Destroy All Monsters is basically the Avengers of Godzilla movies, because it brought almost every single kaiju from past films back, as well as adding some monsters who had previously only been in standalone films. It took the combined might of more than a half-dozen of another alien race in order to fight alongside their new monster, a hook-handed cyborg chicken named Gigan. It was not Ghidorah's finest moment. Ghidorah next appeared in 1991, in the third installment in the franchise's second era, known as the Heisei series. In Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, the Golden Dragon isn't being controlled by aliens, but by time travelers who use the atomic blast that originally created Godzilla to instead create King Ghidorah, while simultaneously taking Japan's biggest defender out of the picture. The plan doesn't work, as fate works in such a way that Godzilla still ends up being created, bigger and badder than ever. Godzilla defeats King Ghidorah, and is then in turn defeated by a cyborg version of Ghidorah's corpse brought back from the future by one of the good time travelers. Different versions of Ghidorah also appeared in a series of Mothra films in the 90s, but Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah was the monster's last appearance in the core franchise until the next era of films, the Millennium series. Godzilla, Mothra and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack, released in 2001, is notable because it is the only time that Ghidorah has ever been a good guy. In GMK, the kaiju is one of Japan's 3 guardian monsters along with Mothra and a lesser-known kaiju named Baragon. Together, the 3 fight a scary, supernatural version of Godzilla powered by restless souls. Depending on how you count, Ghidorah made one more appearance in the Millennium series in 2004's Godzilla, Final Wars. In that, a quadrupedal 3-headed monster named Kaiser Ghidorah did battle with Godzilla, once again under the control of a revamped version of the Zillion alien race. Ghidorah's final appearance in the Japanese films came recently, in the Godzilla and the Surface of Venus. In Rebirth of Mothra 3, King Ghidorah, a more powerful relative of Des Ghidorah, arrived on the Earth millions of years ago during the Cretaceous, attempting to wipe out all of the planet's life. He returned to Earth in the present in order to feed on humanity, particularly children. In Godzilla, Mothra and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack, King Ghidorah is reinvented as a heroic monster for the first, and so far only, time. In this film, King Ghidorah is the god of the sky and one of the three guardian monsters, along with Mothra and Baragon. Known as the Yamata no Orochi, an ancient eight-headed dragon from Japanese mythology, King Ghidorah was slain by Japanese warriors thousands of years ago and laid to rest underneath Mount Fuji. The warriors prayed for King Ghidorah's soul, and over the next several centuries he slowly regenerated, empowered by the souls of Japan's honorable dead. However, he was awakened before he could grow back all 8 of his heads, instead growing only 3. In the Godzilla anime trilogy, Ghidorah is an energy-based being that hails from another dimension, the end result of a path of evolution in which life discarded its physical body and became composed of pure energy. Ghidorah's energy-based composition allows him to pass through dimensions, which is how he made contact with the Exif civilization 100,000 years ago. The Exif willingly sacrificed their planet to Ghidorah and accepted him as their deity, then took to wandering the stars over the ensuing millennia in order to offer more planets to him. In the Monsterverse, Ghidorah is once again an extraterrestrial creature like his Showa and 1998 incarnations, referred to as a dragon who fell from the stars, and suggested to not be a part of Earth's natural order. There are many ancient accounts of the monster across several civilizations and mythologies, including some which recount him doing battle with Godzilla and Mothra. King Ghidorah is a dreaded, living extinction event, and has inspired the many multi-headed apocalyptic beasts in the world's religions. While King Ghidorah is most commonly seen as a subservient ally of numerous alien races, he does act under his own free will on several occasions. Whenever his alien master's mind control is severed, he becomes confused due to no longer receiving their commands, and is easily overwhelmed by Godzilla and his allies, eventually trying to retreat. In Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, King Ghidorah is said to be evil, and destroys civilizations on several planets simply for the fun of it. 12:25. He tries to do the same to Earth, only to be stopped by 3 of its native monsters. In Rebirth of Giant Monsters All-Out Attack, King Ghidorah is one of the guardian monsters in the next video.